Bump that up. I need more of my speakers. Oh. That's my sermon topic for today. Nothing to do with that. Look at your neighbor, because we're going to do this the whole sermon. I'll be done. I'm not really preached. I just need to make sure you have something contentious to talk about at the Christmas gathering. Say, neighbor, he got nothing to do with that. Now, you got to say it real street, like with a K. He got nothing to do with that. Jeremiah, verse 1. Jeremiah 10, verse 1 says, hear the word which the Lord speaks to you, O house of Israel. Thus says the Lord, learn not the way, I'm even from the Amplified Classic. Y'all keep it that way. I'm going to read my version. Learn not the way of the heathen nations, and be not dismayed at the signs of the heavens. Though they are dismayed at them. So if you got your horoscope, go and burn it up. The constellations moved anyway. Bam. But they won't tell y'all that. For the customs and ordinances of the peoples are false, empty, futile. Yours says vain. For one cutteth a tree. What that say, y'all? Out of the work of the, y'all mad already. The work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. Next verse. Deck the halls with balls of holly. They deck it with silver and with what? Gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers so it don't move. Thank you, Reverend. Verse 5 in my version says, their idols are like pillars of turned work, as upright and stationary and immobile as a palm tree, like scarecrows in a cucumber field. They cannot speak, Santa. They have to be carried. Do not be afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither is it possible for them to do good. It's not in them. None at all is like you, O Lord. You are great, and your name is great in might. DJ, hit me one more time, just with the chorus. 1, 2. Let's all sing it together. You got nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with. You're going to sing this all Christmas. Nothing to do. Go and buy your gifts, but nothing to. Go and buy them all. Wrap them up. But just don't put Jesus' name on it. Nothing to do. Buy your gifts for you, but he got nothing. Little boy, nope. No baby boy in Bethlehem, nope. Nothing to do with that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. All right. Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house, not a creature was stirring. If you got a mouse in your house, you got a problem. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care and hope that St. Nicholas, he dead, soon would be there. I don't want no dead man coming down my chimney. I can't hear nobody up in here. The children are nestled all snug in their beds, should be, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And mama in her kerchief, Lord have mercy, sight to see, and in my cap, had just nestled or just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the roof there rose such a clatter, I sprang from bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore up the shutter and threw up the sash. The moon on my breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of a midday to objects below. When, comma, what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. The devil is alive. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick. More rapid than the eagles, his coursers they came, he whistled and shouted, called them by name. Now dancer, now dasher, now dancer, now prancer and vixen, on comet, on Cupid, Donna and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away all. I'm not gonna read the rest, y'all got it. This poem was written by Clement Clark Moore, and he actually wrote it Christmas Eve, 1822. It was published because his aunt heard it. It was like, you need to do something with that. He wrote it for his family. It got published in a newspaper on December 23rd, 1823, the next year. It then sparked a whole tradition where people started thinking, there's gonna be a fat white man in a red suit with 8 reindeer gonna come on top of your roof. And so they start going with it to create a sense of traditions. Because when this country was founded, the Puritans that founded this country, the Puritans that founded this country, banned Christmas. So there were no Christmas holidays in 1770s. Even in the early 1800s, that's something that eventually evolved. So Christmas as we know it, is actually an American tradition that we just slap Jesus' name on. But as our song says, 1, 2, ready, he got nothing. No, skip right to the chorus. No, nothing to do with that. Hey, come on. Nothing to do. Take my name off that. He got nothing. Put some speck on my name. Got nothing to do. Put some speck on it. I got nothing to do. Hey, nothing to do. Hey, got nothing to do. All right. Whew. I'm just trying to give you some stuff, some fodder. So when y'all go to these Christmas traditions, they might, we got to celebrate Jesus' birth. Now, I need one volunteer that's willing to have your baby picture on the screen. I was a cute baby. I just need to put it up here. How many don't want anybody to see your baby pictures or any of your kids, like the pictures when you were a child? Just raise your hand besides me. Especially ones when you ain't got no teeth, bald, probably half naked, just all the good stuff. Wave your hand. Anybody say, right. You probably didn't have no hair or just had like a little, like one little string on top. Watch this. Because you're not there anymore. So to celebrate every year what you're not anymore, it's almost like, let me grow up. I'm just trying. And so if we talk more and celebrate and make a whole holiday, holy day out of a place he's not anymore, we'll disregard not just the cross, we'll forget the grave. And forget the grave, the sky, he gone. And living on the inside. Tell your neighbor, I'm not there no more. Yee. Traditions from the word tradiere means passed or handed down. Watch this. It can be passed in innocence, but accepted in ignorance. Say that again, Reverend. Some traditions that have been passed down were passed down innocently, but accepted in ignorance. That's why some of us then got shocked when we found out Santa Claus wasn't real. How many would kind of shocked when somebody finally told you that. It's like, and your feelings were hurt. Just to be honest, it's okay. Ain't no Santa Claus. And come to find out, Santa Claus wasn't white. He was black. Because if you go over to a black family, that Santa Claus, your mama, or whoever. It's all right. Now, let me give you the first Christmas feast was actually held in Rome in 336 A.D. After Christianity became the empire's official religion. So they had already had pagan customs. I'm getting ready to go through those. So what they did was they said, since we're accepting Christianity and we already have our pagan customs, we'll just twist our pagan customs to now seem like Jesus is there. So we've taken our stuff and slapped Jesus on top of it, spray some perfume and say, hey, this is Christ's birth. Let's all sing it without the music. And he got nothing to do with that. Ba-dum, bum, bum. Nothing to do. Bum, 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 bum. Nothing to do with. So a lot of our traditions are actually Catholic traditions that have nothing to do with Christ. If I do a good job for the next 26 minutes, you'll feel educated. We done shouted, danced, cried. I done cried all my little glasses. But right now I need you to learn. Thank you so much. If I said, pick a guest, how you doing? You seem real nice. Shake my hand. Is today your birthday? It's not? Well, we're going to celebrate your birthday today. Clap your hands for her. I want y'all to give me all the gifts. It's her birthday, but I want you to buy me some gifts. So everybody pull out some money. I want you to bless the pastor. Y'all can do that for real, pastor, you know. It's not your birthday, but we're going to celebrate your birthday by clapping for you, but I get all the monetary gifts. I've already insulted you because most of y'all that want people to acknowledge your birthday on your actual birthday. But the way I celebrate your birthday is I get gifts, you get gifts. We're going to honor you by just giving gifts to everybody else except you. And let's do our chorus. And he got nothing to do with that. Ba-dum, ba-dum. Bum, 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 bum. Nothing to do. How many would be quite insulted if somebody celebrates your birthday on the wrong day, made a whole big deal about it, and then got everybody else involved? Because actually Christmas is nothing but a ploy to get y'all to start spending money before the end of the year. And he got nothing to do with that. All right, now I got a tree and gifts underneath my tree. But watch this. I'm not celebrating Christ. I'm just celebrating this season what we giving. I'm not saying stop your Christmas traditions. I'm just saying stop slapping Christ Mass on it. Christ Mass, which is where it came from. It's a Catholic Mass. Christ Mass. Christmas. If I was Spanish, Christos Mas. More Christ. But we don't have more Christ because Christ ain't in that in the first place. That's you. And commercialism. That's why it don't add up. Y'all see looks on your face. Y'all got some good, just keep taking notes. You good. Tell your neighbor, you good, dog. You good. Just hold fast. The pagan tradition that it started from, how many of you ever heard Yule? Yule time. Yule was actually a feast where they celebrated, watch this. In the northern part of Europe, they celebrated Yule. In the southern part of Europe, or in the Italy area, Rome, they celebrated Saturnalia. Yule, Saturnalia. Let's say it together, class. Yule, Saturnalia. They both are about the shortest day of the year where there's less sun. So they're celebrating the fact that the sun is shorter and there's a new birth. So it's almost like a sun god. They celebrate the sun god. So it's the celebrating of the sun god is now being birthed. Or the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. Everybody with me so far? What they would do is the Yule festival, they would actually go get a log because it was so cold. If you know anything about Northern Europe, it's cold. Think Poland, Russia, any place, it's cold. Somebody say cold. So they mystified and spirified cold because if you stay outside through the night, you're going to freeze to death. That's just, so don't put a spirit on that. There's evil things in the night. and the way you ward off the evil things in the night. We all got to gather together. So they would actually kill most of all their cattle and livestock and have these big feasts because their livestock wouldn't live throughout the winter. So they would have a whole big feast of a lot of meat and a lot of food and a lot of beer. So everybody, if a lot of beer, guess what everybody did? Toe down drunk. So it's a orgy festival. And what they would do is to celebrate the trees that actually made it out, they would pull one of the evergreen trees or the ferns and cut it down because those are the actual trees that made it through the winter. So they must have some kind of spiritual power because they make it through the winter. I hope you're learning something. The only thing is, most of these pagan rituals were fueled from fertility god worship. Fertility god worship. So when you cut down the Yule log and strip down the bark, it becomes a phallic symbol. And you let it burn throughout the 12 days of Christmas or the Yule festival. And the sparks are thought to be pigs and cattle, which means they're going to be birthed this year. See how they made a whole pagan ritual? So the Yule log was taking a phallic symbol and now bring it into your house as symbolic of fertility. Am I making sense to anybody in here? It gets worse. Take a deep breath. For 12 days, 12 days, people would run amok and just be drunk. That means people would switch flip-flop wives. If you didn't have a wife, just take it. If your girl start acting up, I just want to see all my street people. I just want to tell you, I just see all y'all heathens. Watch it, Courtney. You got your collar on. Here we go. So it'd be all kind of craziness. So if you had servants or kids, don't let them out at night, because they were doing stuff in the streets. Because everybody's drunk and just celebrating all kind of debauchery. Somebody say, Lord have mercy. All right, so now, that's a Yule festival. So for 12 days, they just cutting up. On the first day of Christmas, my true love said to me. All that stuff was fueled from 12 days of, so from December 25th to January 6th, 12 days, we're just celebrating this whole festival. In Rome, they were celebrating what? Saturnalia, which is Saturn being the god of excess. So if you're going to celebrate the god of excess, guess what you're going to start doing? Everything in excess. So they would even flip roles. Men would start dressing like women. Women would start dressing like men. I didn't do nothing. I didn't say nothing. They would actually, if you were rich, you would have to let poor people come into your house and then give them the best food and give them the best. If not, they would actually probably loot your house. All the roles were flipped. It was 12 days, so pretty much the rich people who would take advantage of poor people, this is like their, let me do this to give back so let me do my last end of the year contributions to make me justify all the stuff I did all year. So Saturnalia is the sun god. So that means he has ray whenever you see it, and his name, the name they would celebrate is Mithras. Everybody say Mithras. Say Mithras. And Mithras is a sun god. And if you ever see him, he has rays coming out of his head because he's a sun god. Or a halo. So whenever you see Jesus with a halo, it's pretty much, it's a Roman Catholic thing where they're saying, we're now going to deify you, Son of God, by making you the Sun God. And our chorus is 1, 2, 3, and he got nothing to do. He got him. Ooh yeah, ooh yeah, ooh yeah, 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 yeah. Hey. All right. Now, let me go through this. Y'all learning something so far? Everybody good? Y'all may want to get this tape or start recording. You know, I talk fast. So don't ask me to repeat and don't ask for my notes. Go study for yourself. That's what it said in Jeremiah. Ain't that what it said in Jeremiah? Y'all remember what it said. Y'all don't even remember what it said. Go learn for yourself. All right. Let me stop being, y'all gonna think I'm being petty. On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a partridge in the pear tree. On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 turtle doves and a partridge in a pear tree. Yay! Third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a And on the 4th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a stop. I could go on and on. All right, this was on the 5th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a hey. All right, now watch this. Now, I told you it's 12 days. I'm not going no further. Go to 7. No. All right. It's 12 days. It's 12 days they celebrate these holes. So actually, the 12 days of Christmas is actually it comes from pagan origins. What is thought by Catholic traditions is that they use the 12 days of Christmas as code because when they couldn't actually express their faith, they had to put code out there to actually express all of the things about Christ. So a partridge is actually the one bird that will actually die to save their young. So the partridge in a pear tree is actually code for Jesus, who was willing to die for his young. 2 turtle doves, Old Testament, and 3 French hens, faith, hope, and love. 4 calling birds. How many gospels are there? 4 gospels. 5 golden rings, the first 5 books of the Old Testament. 6 geese a laying is 6 days of creation. 7 swans a swimming, good gracious alive, is the 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit and also the 7 sacraments. 8 maids a milking are actually the 8 beatitudes. 9 ladies dancing are the 9 fruits of the Holy Spirit. 10 lords a leaping, the 10 commandments. 11 pipers piping, the 11 faithful apostles. They left off Matthew, so some ain't right. 12 drummers drumming are the 12 points of doctrine in the Apostles' Creed. That's it, just holler for no reason. All right, 12 drummers drumming are the 12 points of doctrine in the Apostles' Creed. That's it, just holler. That's it, get your praise out. You missed praise and worship, now you got it, all right. All right. See, when praise and worship, everybody's screaming, you can get away with it. You know, now the preacher preaching, you can't be screaming and hollering unless you're saying amen. You know, it's all right. It's all right, just stay right there. See, she just want to holler. She just, you know, y'all used to be babies. Y'all want to put your baby picture up there? He got nothing to do. All right, here we go. All right, great. All right, now, the only thing is, this is just what is thought in certain traditions. So you can kind of throw that at it as a preacher moment. The 12 days of Christmas means blah, 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 and kind of walk it through. Just go research it. It's all out there. All right, now, so that's the 12 days of Christmas. Everybody good so far? All right, now, keep going. Next, let's deal with good old St. Nick. Can we deal with Santa Claus? Can we deal with him? Santa Claus, as we know it, is an American-made thing. Though there was an old priest by the name of St. Nicholas who actually would go around and his thought would actually do nice things for kids and pass things out. So they kept his, so whenever, there he goes. He would bless the kids and kind of do stuff like that. Now, watch this, though. They made his legend bigger than what he really was. And so you would have St. Nicholas in the red. It will come and bless the kids with good stuff. But he will also bring with him, because they thought he was such a great guy, that he had conquered a guy named Krampus. Can you put Krampus up there, please? Krampus. Krampus was the one that brought switches. So if you wasn't good this year, he knows when you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Oh, here's what that Saint Nick would, if you were good, would bring you good stuff like candy and all that good stuff. But Krampus, because it's thought that Krampus was his slave. Krampus, being the evil one, it's thought that he had actually conquered Krampus and brought him with. So if you were bad, he brought you switches, symbolic of punishment for your bad deeds. Krampus is actually a horned, which actually looks like Lucifer or Beelzebub, whichever, everybody see it. So you got good old Saint Nick, but behind good old Saint Nick is Krampus. So you're getting good and evil. That's the traditions. Everybody see it? What they eventually did is that they changed Krampus from being a horned goat to make it more acceptable. They made him a reindeer. And he got nothing to do with that. Everybody saying nothing to do. Bum, 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 nothing to. Don't you bring no reindeer to my house. Oh, no, no, nothing. Don't bring no Krampus, no nothing. He got no. Ooh. All right, that's enough. Okay. Thank you. You got to growl. Got to have a little phlegm in your throat. All right, now, here's how it happened. Go back to my picture of St. Nick. So everybody understand, that's why when you hear old St. Nick, he's actually a real priest. They just deified him and made him legendary and made his legend bigger than what it really was. They needed some kind of symbol for Christmas, and so when I go back to my original poem on the night, it was the night before Christmas, when all through the house night, that was then their moment to kind of like so they needed a picture. So let's take me to the picture of old St. Nick. The Santa Claus. They needed some kind of picture to kind of sell it to make him more appealing. So they made him a jolly old guy. And at first, he wasn't a plump guy. He was just a guy in a red suit with a bag of toys. Because if he's bringing toys and blessing everybody, then guess what we all want to do? We want to give our kids this imagery to get them to want to make toys, because if they want toys, then that means our sales will be up. And how do you get sales up? So now, but they need to kind of change him. So they took a political artist who then made him a jolly old guy like this. Still red suit, white, with beard, because now this is acceptable. Because during that time, men of status had beards. So if you had a thick beard, it was symbolic of you having status. I guess I don't have no status. He got nothing to do with that. Here we go. All right, so now to start selling more, all my bearded guys are like, blah, blah. I'm gonna catch up. I just don't have enough Jamaican oil. Here we go. Now, to get status, so they start putting him in stores to get the sales up. Because if you tell your kids, Santa Claus is gonna bring you a gift, and he's actually at the store, take me to go see Santa Claus. Because now if you got the kids in the store, guess what happens? Your sales go. And still today, they're still using the same ploy to get people in stores. Everybody good? Woo! Go to my picture of the Christmas tree with the first family. Bum, 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 bum. This goes back to England. Now, this picture here was a picture of the royal family. I think that's King. Whoever Elizabeth's father is. I'm sorry, I should have it like it's either Andrew or somebody like that. George, that's Elizabeth's daddy. I'll take your word for it. Now, if you're wrong, they got me up here lying. His name, King George. King George. That's King George. That's Elizabeth's mama, and then Elizabeth somewhere in there. They sent this picture out, watch this, as a royal family picture. In England, whatever the royal family does is the thing that, so now it took about 2 or 3 years, and now every family in England had a Christmas tree decorated as a sign of we're admonishing the royal family. So that's in England. You then come over here to America. We got rid of all that, but now there's they couldn't stop the traditions, because watch this. If for 12 days you get to act a monkey, you can't take that away from us. So eventually they were like, we need something. Even in England, the Cromwell family that actually took over, who was part of, and the people were like, we want the Cromwells, it's fine. But after a while, they're like, we're our Christmas tradition. No, we're not doing that anymore. You got to go. Give us back a king. because we want to hold fast to our traditions. So they actually brought back in a monarchy that got put out, all because they want to keep their traditions. And still today, because we want to hold fast to our traditions, we bring in a displaced monarchy. The devil was defeated. But because we want to keep our traditions, we bring it all back in. Am I making sense to anybody? He's already been defeated, but we want to bring his kingdom back in because we want to accept, we don't want to let go of our traditions. And then we want to throw Jesus' name on it. And all I want to tell you is he got nothing to do with that. So, I've talked about Christmas tree. This is why you got Christmas trees in every house. We're staying from people want to be like the royal family. Talked about the Puritans, talked about Santa Claus, Old St. Nick Krampus, 12 Days of Christmas, Saturnalia, Yule Festival, and Yule Log. So, here's some reasons, once again, that ain't my birthday. Jesus was born in the Feast of Tabernacles, so he's born between the end of September and the beginning of October. How do we know that? Shepherds are not outside sleeping all night in the cold. It won't happen. Also, the Feast of Tabernacles is a Jewish tradition where they thought that's the time that the Messiah would come. The problem is he did come during that time, but he came to his own, and his own received him not. Even he came down and tabernacled amongst us, John 1. Everybody got it? So his real true birthday is during the Feast of Tabernacles, which is between the end, which is the actual Jewish feast. So that ain't my birthday. I wish y'all could just find a generic Christmas picture. I want to go to this next one. That ain't my race. He's not white and doesn't have a blue eyes. And his mama's not white. His dad is not white. I'm sorry, Tracy. It's not. All right? And watch this. The wise men, the magi. You know what magi is short for? Magicians. Now, magi, they were royalty. We three kings. It wasn't necessarily three of them. They were actually men of status. You had to go all the way back to Daniel, because Daniel, when he was in Babylon, was over all the magicians and sorcerers and all that good stuff. He then injected a tradition with them that the Messiah would come, and actually gave them the time that he was going to come. So the reason they were on the lookout during this time, because it was a tradition that they had kept from the time when Daniel, who was a righteous man, was over some heathens in Babylon. So when they saw the star, they followed it all the way from the east. They came many, many miles, and it wasn't three of them. We don't know how many it was. It's just the fact that we had three gifts. They were bringing it to a king. So it wasn't just a little small pocket chain. Well, we come to bring the king cup, $5. We just want to bless you. No. They actually probably bought substantial amount of wealth. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Each one is symbolic of gold, your royalty, frankincense, your incense unto God because of worship unto God, and myrrh because you're going to die. So this poor family, you imagine you being poor and somebody bring you a whole bunch of gold. The thing that happened, though, they needed this gold to get them to Egypt because of the edict of Herod. And watch this. They didn't come when he was a baby. They came when he was probably like 2. That's why Herod said everybody that's 2 years and younger. So watch this. I want you to imagine that by you staying alive, all your cousins die. Because a lot of the babies that were actually in that area, they were either cousins related in some kind of way. So imagine you alive and all your cousins die, and the only reason you alive is because your stepfather took the gold and went by a dream and then escaped to Egypt. The miracle is not the fact that she birthed him. The miracle is the fact that she actually got pregnant. Her childbearing was real. And all the women that have ever birthed a child just say amen. It's real. And then this whole picture of the manger, find me just some generic manger scene. Just find this and make sure they all white. The nativity, which actually comes from the crib cult. The crib cult. Get your breath out of my baby's face. Because they were deifying all this, they started a crib cult. So now people start having empty cribs in their houses as symbolism for Christ. And from this, And because they want the kids to actually reenact it so they can carry on the traditions, they start these nativity scenes. Ain't no lights on no baby. He ain't glowing. They go that sun god. He ain't glowing. He was in, watch this. The inn was actually one big square. It's almost like Motel 6. They had a courtyard where they kept all the animals. It wasn't a cave. It was all the travelers. Everybody was in town for what? The Feast of Tabernacles. Y'all got it now. The reason wasn't no room is because they had to come to this particular place because everybody that was from, you had to come because of the taxes. I mean, the census was going to lead to taxes, so that's why. And watch this. He couldn't leave Mary back home in Nazareth because didn't nobody want to fool with her because she got pregnant before she got married. So he had to bring her 70 miles on a donkey. Now, you imagine that. And you 9 months pregnant. Y'all foolish. I'm going to say this again. 70 miles, not 70 miles. And I've been to Israel. Them some bumpy roads. You are 9 months pregnant. That's not a comfortable ride. To then get to the hotel where we're supposed to be, and 70 miles is about 3 days' journey, you tell me. And if that inn is closed, get about the other ones that you try to stay in on the way. So just to get to the place where we got to be, I got to ride a donkey for 20, and then where we going to sleep? I don't know, babe. We just got to rough it out here. The devil is a liar. That's day one. Whew. Come on, we got to make it. I am in pain. But we got to make it. That's day two. Where we going to sleep? I don't know. But you carry the Messiah. God, you put this in me, and now you're going to leave me to live with this kind of circumstance? I didn't expect this to be like this. This is supposed to be a whole lot easier. If I'm carrying the King of Kings, shouldn't I have a palace kind of treatment? And God says, no, you're going to endure this. Because the only way I can touch all men, I got to come for all men, like all men. Day three, we finally make it to the inn, and then the innkeeper says, sorry, all your cousins have booked the whole place up. Now, you would think one of your cousins would be like, hey, you can sleep on the floor. You can sleep on the couch. I'll make room. Then none of them want to fool with her. You're carrying the Messiah, but he came to his own, and his own received him not. Am I making sense to anybody? It's Motel 6 with a courtyard. So you got to have your baby outside under the stars where all the animals are. So you see all them angels? They look so angelic. Don't look at it. All the sheep just obeying. Everybody just bowing. Oh, just everybody. That camel ain't stunning him. You be careful if he'll spit on you. I want you to imagine all the donkeys. Donkeys are stubborn. And if you ever smelled a live animal, been to the zoo? Some of y'all don't even want to touch nobody without washing your hands. You are birthing a whole baby. How many hours of labor out in an open courtyard where everybody's animals are doing whatever they do? Excuse me, that dong over there. I got to, come on, Mary, just squat. I'm not playing. This is how they actually would birth babies. They would actually squat. They would have like 2 rocks, and it would squat. So it wasn't no hospital, wasn't no, Charlotte, Carolina Medical, wasn't no North Side. And I don't even think it was a lot of hay. A manger is an animal trough. Swaddling clothes is strips of clothes. It's not even the whole clothes. He was wrapped in strips. What you get? Now babies got more clothes they can even wear. Child, this new, but he can't even wear it. Got to give it away. He was wrapped. And they wrapped him like this so he wouldn't move. Swaddling clothes. So all this glamour, and y'all see the sun like, ooh, nope. And he got nothing to do with that. Nothing. All them white people, I'm not being racist. I'm just telling you, he was not white. He looks Middle Eastern. He was actually olive complexion. He was Armenian. That means they probably had black hair. Straight black hair, but black hair. Yeah, that's probably a closer thing. They probably found her some hay. I want you to imagine you are 9 months pregnant, come through 3 days where you ain't been sleeping nowhere, and you now got a birth of a baby, and don't none of your family want to let you in. And yet, somebody say one thing to us, we fall apart. Stand to your feet.